The NFL Combine is going on all week, and the Cleveland Browns are interviewing Miami U's Carson Beck and Penn State's Drew Aller at the Combine. I don't know who they're going to pick first, but they're interviewing them. And we know that Mel Kiper puts out his NFL draft projections every year. Of 2026, he's taking Fernando Mendoza, Indiana, 6'5", and he's taking Ty Simpson of Alabama. Now he's 6'2", and Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss, he's only 6'1". Garrett Nutzmeyers from LSU is 6'4", and Carson Beck is 6'5". So I think he's probably going to be the fourth pick, Carson Beck. And then you got Drew Aller coming in after Carson Beck, and he's 6'5", 235 pounds. Nobody knows how things will transpire from the NFL draft, but they're going to be talking to all these people. But we know that the Browns has got to get an O-line, and they got to get some wide receivers. That has to be top priority. And former Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski received the lowest grade of any head coach in the NFL from the NFLPA Players Survey for the 2025 season. They got Sean McVay with an A+, Dan Quinn with an A+, Dan Campbell A, Aaron Glenn got an A, Ben Johnson got an A, Mike McDaniel got an A, Andy Reid A, Kevin O'Connell got an A, Nick Sirianni an A, Mike Tomlin A, Mike Bravo A. Everybody got A's and B's pretty much. Brian Schottenheimer got an A-, Kyle Shanahan A-, and then we got some B's here. Raheem Morris B+, Todd Bowles B, John Harbaugh B, Mike McDaniel B, Sean Payton, Brian Callahan B-, Matt LaFleur B-, Pete Carroll C+, Jim Harbaugh C+, Brian Daboll with a C, and then Kevin Stefanski running in at dead last, C-. Man, that's crazy. C-, Kevin Stefanski. Wow. Now we know exactly what the players thought about him. Isn't that very interesting? The Cleveland Browns staff was graded treatment of families D-, home game field B-, food/dining area D+, nutritionist, dietitian C+, locker room F, training room C, training staff C+, weight room B+, strength coaches B+, position coaches B-, offensive coordinator D+, defensive coordinator A-, special teams coordinator D, team travel D-, head coach C-, general manager C. Interesting, that treatment of families D-. We got Kevin Stefanski talking on a podcast called Pardon My Take, and he's talking to these guys about Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur gets sacked this preseason because he didn't want him to start. What was up with that? Why'd you do that?
I would say this. I love Shedeur. I loved coaching him. Seriously, he's got the right makeup for this game. He was wired the right way. I wish that we won more, obviously, but if you saw how he played down the stretch, I mean, he's a young player that's getting better. I'm not coaching him anymore, so I know I have to be careful about talking about other players, but I am rooting for him.
Mm-hmm. Are you intentionally...
With him getting that terrible grade, every press conference, he gave no answers to nobody's questions. He said the same thing over and over again, and he should have really got a worse grade than that. That was still too high. Immediately, he got another job. I never understood that. I don't know what them people in the NFL media love about Kevin Stefanski, but they have a love for Kevin Stefanski. He picked up a job just like that. Players don't like him, and I got people out in Atlanta, and I know they can't stand him. Then with that audio we just played, Kevin Stefanski is lying through his teeth, clear as day, that he didn't like Shedeur. And to sit there on that podcast and say this with a straight face was diabolical. That's the reason he's not in Cleveland right now, because he didn't believe in Shedeur. And we also got ESPN 850 Hammer talking about the grade that Stefanski got.
Head coach Kevin Stefanski. Okay. C-. Kind. Here's the issue.
Very kind.
Of the 32 coaches in the NFL last year, Kevin Stefanski finished last. He was the only C- on the list. You go through Dan Campbell, Dan Quinn, Sean McVay. These are the other head coaches in the league. Kevin Stefanski was at the bottom. Now, I like Kevin, but that just tells you one of the reasons why the Browns fired Kevin Stefanski is that his players did not like him. In particular, I'm guessing that 95 didn't exactly have his back correct going through this whole thing. I think he lost the locker room as evidenced by the vote of the players in the NFLPA leaked report cards.
As the media would tell you all year, the past 4 or 5 years, the media loved Kevin Stefanski. And they was telling us that he hadn't lost the locker room or nothing. Them guys didn't like Kevin Stefanski. They didn't like the way he coached. They didn't like the way he talked to them. They didn't like anything he did. And putting Dylan Gabriel in front of Shador for as long as he did and not give Shador any reps, and Shador was clearly a better player, that right there, that lost him his job. That lost him his job right there. We know that the Browns and all the NFL teams were pretty much at the combine talking to the GMs and talking to all the players. This is Daniel Osufi. He says Andrew Berry talked to teams about everybody.
About wide receivers and, some of those.
What chatter, if any, have you heard about Marvin Harrison Jr., at least in respect to this past week for the Browns?
Oh, Andrew Berry loves calling in about wide receivers and, some of those, like when I talked about being creative with the trades, those types of moves. I don't doubt it. I mean, it's funny, the way the semantics behind all this stuff, like Andrew Berry talks to teams about everybody, so you could take that and then say well, he's probably calling a lot of guys that you'd probably be surprised about. So I know that, I don't think this free agent class at wide receiver is really, really enticing. There are some guys who I think that would step in as a strong 2, number 3 role. So, they obviously know what they need to add a wide receiver, but also honestly, I was hearing, a lot of really good talk about some of the guys they got internally. Like Isaiah Bond was a guy that came up and was like, hey, he's a guy that has some talent. We can, he can reach another level, of course, for sure. So they're going to add wide receivers. They're going to add some pass catchers. But that room, I don't necessarily think it's going to be 3 new wide receivers. I think they're going to draft somebody. And I think that if there is the right price, whether in free agency or a trade, I think that they're going to take a swing on a veteran guy for sure. But I think internally there's still some hope that, like the quarterback position, Monk can kind of build that room up and make it a little more productive than we saw last year.
I don't know if I believe in Isaiah Bond, the deep ball threat, fast. I don't know if I want him to be one of the guys that we really, really relying on. I heard Deebo Samuels is out there. He hasn't signed yet with the San Francisco 49ers, so take a look at him. And it's also rumors of Marvin Harrison Jr. No way in the hell Browns giving up on the 1st and the 3rd. The Arizona Cardinals and Cleveland Browns are working on finalizing a trade that will send Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Browns exchange for a 2026 first-round pick, number 24, along with the 2026 third-round pick. I don't know. That's too much. It's too much for me, but let me know what you guys think about that. Coach Todd Munkins, he's up there at the combine. We got Rizzo, Hammer, and Grossi talking to Todd Munkin. Let's take a listen.
Dissect the defense. So everything's about getting the play in, getting up the line of scrimmage, giving him the most time possible to process, and then go from there.
Coach Todd Munkin of the Browns is our guest. Coach, have you made up your mind? I apologize if this is too early, but will you hit in training camp and all those kind of decisions? Are you going through all that stuff now? You guys did with the Ravens. They did not here in Cleveland for many years.
No, we're going to hit. Yeah. I don't think you can play physical and practice soft. I've never believed that. Yeah. I've never believed that you can be that way.
And Cleveland was Camp Cupcake always. They never hit. They didn't really hit till the last year or so. So I'm glad that they're going to be hitting.
And not that the Browns have not, they've been a physical football team. Yeah. But I do think that you got to callous your team. You just do. There's still blocking and tackling is the core of what you do. And I don't think you can do it by just being in helmets.
Ted, under John Harbaugh, the Ravens had this phenomenal preseason record. Okay. And you were there for 3 years. Is there value in that?
I don't know. I wrecked it. I mean, in one of them, I think I was
You're calling the
specifically responsible for the Redskins one that wrecked it. We were in 4 minutes and I threw it. I didn't realize that the streak of 20 ever in a row really
hanging in the
mattered.
balance, right? Yeah.
Seriously though, the next day we were in a staff meeting and I got grilled over preseason 4 minutes.
Story.
And I was like, I didn't think this shit mattered. You know, I thought
matters.
it was almost like Will Ferrell, like what was that movie that was Old School?
That's Rizzo, Grossi, and Hammer talking to Todd Monken. Let me know what you think about head coach Kevin Stefanski being dead last in the coaching. Thank God he's out of here and he's in Atlanta. See you on the next video.